Hello, everyone. I'm back, and I wanted to go ahead and just cover very briefly the George Floyd case. I um, I have really fallen a little bit behind. Um, I haven't really taken notes the way that I should as I'm following the trial. Not in the past couple of days anyway, because I've also been studying, trying to prepare for a real estate exam. So it's been quite, taxing a little bit. Um, I do want to summarize some of the things that I have heard, and it has really been it's been good in terms of the case against Chauvin, because this is a man. I'm going to tell you what I have seen. He's sitting in the courtroom. He's taking notes. Every time Eric Nelson, who is the defense attorney, every time he has to go and convene with his staff about something or get information, Derek turns around so he can hear what he's saying, as if he has any grounds to do that. I want to be real blatant and clear. Um, we all witnessed a murder on TV. We all witnessed it. There is no getting around that. No matter how many notes he takes, there's no getting around that. He is really getting the fairest trial of anyone known in history, better than any black man. His defense is really quite strong. Eric Nelson is an outstanding defense attorney. People should hire him. One of the things I will say about him is he's carrying that whole load himself. I have noticed he's carrying the load of that defensive case himself. There are no other attorneys who come up other than him to cross-examine the witness. So he has a team of people who I'm sure are doing some of the background work, it looks like, because they are in the courtroom and he does confer with them from time to time. But he is the one who is really coming up with the strategy head on. And it's a pretty good strategy. Even though I say he's reaching, okay? It's a pretty good strategy. He's a great defense attorney. He is a very great attorney. One of the things that I notice that is happening to him, and you can tell he's tired, is there are times he will go to get an exhibit and it's the wrong exhibit. And so that tells you, but you have to forgive him for that. And I'm sure the judge does, because that's a load. That's a lot. He has a lot to try to get, reasonable doubt out of. And the prosecution's case, though, is a lot heavier because it is factual. I'm looking at the experts that they have brought in. Last week, as you probably saw if you're watching the case, they brought in a pulmonologist who conferred with the fact that had it not been for Chauvin's acts against Floyd, then Floyd would have survived. In fact, the pulmonologist said that it was the lack of oxygen that caused the death. It wasn't the brain that caused the death, because the defense in that cross-examination was trying to get out of the pulmonologist that the issue of the fentanyl and the drugs being in Floyd's system, could have, slowed down, the oxygen getting to the brain and stuff like that. And so the pulmonologist turned that all the way around and said, no, it was the lack of oxygen, and not the brain. So That was very powerful. And then I'm going to put my glasses on today and just skip forward to today. Before I skip forward to today, I want to say, and I cannot recall her name, but she is a white witness, um, reddish auburn looking hair. And you could tell that she is one of those chicks who doesn't care if police kill black people. It was very clear. And that is why the defense is bringing her back. You see, last week they asked if that told her that they would they would send a subpoena for her to reappear possibly again this week. And I believe the defense is probably going to bring her back. I'm not sure, but I think that they will, because it was just evident. You could tell even her nonverbal movements against the prosecutor when he was questioning her. She was more like, well, yeah, yeah. I was like, you murderous thinking hood rat taking the stand. How dare you think that that's okay? But listen, Satan is in this world. But as I always say, the Lord said it is a sin to murder. He didn't say it is a sin to murder unless you are a police officer. And I'm going to share something with you that you probably are all aware of that happened over the weekend in Minnesota as well. But I want to just say this real quickly, because today, as I watched it, they had a doctor, oh my goodness, Jonathan, oh, can't get his last name. He's the cardiologist though. And one of the things that he said, and I wrote it down when he said it, he said this with regards to Chauvin's foot on Floyd's neck. He said, had he not been restrained the way that he was, I think he would have survived that day. He even said, now these are experts, cardiologists, pulmonologists, medical experts that they had last week on the stand. They are all resonating this same information, that it was Chauvin that murdered Floyd. And he's going to have to do the time. This is going to be short, because like I said, I do not have a lot of notes. I just want to put some things out there that really were strong in my mind about this trial. And one of the things is what happened this weekend. I feel like crying. This is awful. We had another young black male die at the hands of these racist cops. And that's what they are, y'all. But I want to tell you what I believe happened. And this is my belief, okay? I believe the Minnesota police are, of course, watching this trial. They see the direction that it is headed into. They see that this officer is not going to get off, because if you're following the trial, it does not look like he is going to get off. And what they did was they retaliated. And that's also what happened, even I think it was in Virginia this week, where they also pulled over a black man at a service station, found out the black man was a lieutenant. This goes to tell you, those W's, they don't care about your ranking. Had that been a white officer that they pulled over who said, I'm a lieutenant, they would have shown some respect. This black man that they pulled over in Virginia still had his army gear on. Still had on his army gear, and he is a lieutenant. Okay? They didn't care about that. And even when he said, man, to be honest, I'm afraid to get out of the car. When someone tells you they are afraid and they have their hands up, they are asking for your mercy. But these people are merciless. But what does God say? God is mercy. God has mercy. So these people are the opposite of God, which means they are ungodly. had no mercy. When the man said, I'm afraid to put my hands up, they started screaming even louder instead of backing up, or at least making him feel comfortable. There was no reason for them to, what I now know as, escalate to de-escalate, because that's what they did. Guns drawn, both of them. And the one that was to, looks like the right of the one who was standing in front of the guy in the SUV, that one looks like he would just impulsively shoot somebody just because he got scared. I just thank God that that did not happen. But the moment I thank God that that didn't happen, I hear about this thing in Minnesota, and someone's son, brother, father, another person, another black male dead at the hands of a racist policeman. They are taking vengeance on our young men, you guys. That ain't got nothing to do with the Lord. This is terrible. And I think that I don't even know what to think about it. I know, I want to say this. I know this weekend in South Carolina, there was a physician, his wife, two grandchildren, and two contractors who were murdered by a black man. I felt equally bad about that because this physician was well respected. He was a Caucasian physician. He was well respected. He had built a whole medical center there in South Carolina called Riverview, in the Fort Mill area. And that was very sad, especially whenever you see him, and he really looked like a beautiful, spirited person. And that was sad as well. The reason I'm bringing it up is because Joe Biden heard about it. President Biden heard about it, and he, in his Meet the Press conference, talked about it, and it made him want to, do something against gun laws, and that kind of thing. I don't want to get into all of that, but it made him, his speech had something to do with gun laws. He used that to substantiate his votes or his thought process about gun laws in this country. However, over the weekend, when you have this young black male who is murdered by policemen, President Joe Biden said nothing. He still hasn't even really, at least I haven't heard, I could have missed something, let me know if I have. He hasn't really addressed the George Floyd issue. Not in the way that, because I think I would have heard it, and I'm not saying anything, I'm not saying that to make any kind of point, I'm just saying what I have seen or what I have witnessed or observed of him. So it is never good to do that to anyone. It is never good to do that to anyone. Why can't people just be peaceful and get along with each other? Why can't the police just stop with the hatred? Why do these W men hate black men so much? You don't even have a reason. You don't have a reason, because the same things that you're saying that black men do, young white men do as well. It's just not as exposed. So I think that we really need to pray. There are a lot of things going on, and we just really need to ask God to intervene and take hold of these issues, because this hatred that these people have had against us and the way that we look has gone on for centuries. None of that's going to be in the kingdom of God. So that's what I rest in, because there's going to be none of that in the kingdom of God. And I just want to end by saying to just be peaceful. Black women, men, talk to your sons and daughters. We have to now avoid the police. That's what I'm thinking. We have to avoid them. Um, you know, because you don't want to even be accidentally pulled over. Don't speed, don't do any, even if you're not speeding. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I don't even know. Let me know what you guys think about the George Floyd case. And I want to hear constructive things. I've had some, actually W supremacist people come on here and document and say things that are crazy. And I'm sorry, but you will be deleted and removed. Don't bring that over here. Take it to your mama's house. Okay? But at any rate, comment, give this a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification bell. And always remember to pray. Thank you. Bye-bye.